In the early hours of November 21, 1916, the HMHS Britannic, once envisioned as a floating palace of luxury, met a fate as tragic as her ill-fated sister, the Titanic. This was no ordinary ship. This was a vessel that had been built with the finest materials, designed to be a symbol of British maritime power and luxury. But this time, she was no luxury liner. She was a lifeline, a floating hospital serving the wounded of World War I. Yet, on that fateful day, destiny would steer her towards disaster. Construction of the Britannic began in November 1911 at the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, the same place where her sister ships, the Titanic and the Olympic, were built. These ships were part of the White Star Line's grand plan to dominate the North Atlantic route, offering unparalleled luxury and safety. The Britannic, originally named Gigantic, was designed to be the most luxurious and safest of the three. Her designers took the lessons from the Titanic's tragic sinking and made significant improvements to her safety features. The ship featured a double hull, a design meant to protect her from the kind of damage that had doomed the Titanic. She also had 17 watertight compartments, and in an emergency, she could stay afloat with up to 6 of these flooded. At 882 feet in length and weighing over 48,000 tons, the Britannic was a marvel of modern engineering. She was equipped with the latest technology, including powerful Marconi wireless telegraphy, which was crucial for communication during her voyages. Her interiors were designed to be even more luxurious than the Titanic's, with grand dining rooms, opulent suites, and amenities that catered to the wealthy elite of the early 20th century. As the Britannic was launched into the waters of Belfast Lough on February 26, 1914, she was the pride of the White Star Line. Her black hull, with its sleek lines, was a testament to her speed and power. The white superstructure and buff funnels, topped with black, were symbols of her status as a luxury liner. The ship's launch was a grand event, attended by dignitaries and shipyard workers alike. For many, this was the dawn of a new era in ocean travel, where comfort and safety were paramount. However, the joy of her launch was short-lived. Just a few months later, in July 1914, the world was plunged into the Great War. As the conflict escalated, the demand for hospital ships grew. The Britannic, which was nearing completion, was soon requisitioned by the British government. Her luxurious fittings were removed, and the ship was hastily converted into a hospital ship. Gone were the grand chandeliers and fine wood paneling, replaced by sterile white walls, rows of beds, and medical equipment. The transformation was a monumental task. Shipbuilders and medical staff worked around the clock to prepare the Britannic for her new role. The grand first-class dining room was now a ward for the critically injured, with rows of beds where soldiers would fight for their lives. The luxurious suites, once reserved for the wealthiest passengers, were converted into operating theaters, equipped with the latest medical technology, including X-ray machines and sterilization equipment. The ship could now accommodate over 3,300 wounded soldiers, making her one of the largest hospital ships of the war. The Britannic's exterior also underwent a dramatic change. Her black hull was repainted white, and a broad green stripe was added along her length, punctuated by large red crosses. These markings were meant to identify her as a hospital ship, protected under the Hague Convention from enemy attack. Her funnels, once a symbol of her power, were painted yellow to ensure she was easily recognizable even from a distance. At night, green lights illuminated the red crosses, making her unmistakable. On December 23, 1915, under the command of Captain Charles Bartlett, the Britannic was ready for her first mission as a hospital ship. Captain Bartlett was no ordinary seaman. He was a veteran of the seas, known for his calm demeanor and sharp decision-making. His nickname, Iceberg Charlie, was a testament to his skill in navigating treacherous waters. Bartlett had been chosen to command the Britannic not just for his experience, but for his ability to stay composed under pressure. The first mission was a daunting one. The ship was to sail to the Mediterranean, a region fraught with danger. German U-boats patrolled the waters, and mines were a constant threat. The Royal Army Medical Corps, 200 strong, was delayed by 12 hours, forcing Bartlett to make a difficult decision. The Britannic had to leave on time to meet the needs of the wounded soldiers waiting in Greece. Bartlett decided to set sail without the full medical team, trusting that the ship's staff could handle any situation that arose. The Britannic's mission was clear: to sail to the coast of Greece, where 4,000 wounded soldiers awaited her care. As the ship made her way through the Mediterranean, she became a symbol of hope for the soldiers. The wounded were brought on board, some on stretchers, others leaning on comrades for support. Their faces bore the scars of battle, but there was relief in their eyes. The Britannic was not just a hospital ship. She was a sanctuary, a place where they could find respite from the horrors of war. Despite the dangers, the Britannic completed 5 successful trips, ferrying the wounded from the front lines back to safety. Each voyage was a testament to the dedication of her crew and medical staff, who worked tirelessly to save lives. The ship's operating rooms were in constant use, and the wards were filled with the sounds of soldiers in recovery. For many, the Britannic was a lifeline, a ship that carried them away from the chaos of battle and towards the hope of healing. But on her 6th voyage, tragedy struck. At 8:12 a.m. on November 21, 1916, as the Britannic sailed through the Key Channel in the Aegean Sea, a massive explosion rocked the ship. A German mine lurking beneath the waves had struck the Britannic, tearing a hole in her hull. The fireman's tunnel, located in the 3rd compartment of the ship, began to flood rapidly. The ship, designed to be nearly unsinkable, was now in grave danger. The force of the explosion was felt throughout the ship. Crew members were thrown from their bunks, and the wards quickly descended into chaos. Despite the ship's advanced safety features, the damage was catastrophic. Water poured into the ship at an alarming rate, and it became clear that the Britannic was sinking. Captain Bartlett, a man of quick decisions, ordered the crew to abandon ship. His experience told him that there was no time to waste. The Britannic was sinking, and every second counted. The crew worked quickly, lowering lifeboats into the water. There were enough lifeboats for everyone, and they began to fill with crew members, medical staff, and patients. But Bartlett was not ready to give up on his ship. In a desperate bid to save the Britannic, he made one last attempt to beach her on the nearby island of Kea. He ordered the engines to be restarted, hoping to run the ship aground and save her from sinking. The ship's engines roared to life, and the Britannic began to move, but the damage was too severe. In his attempt to save the ship, Bartlett unknowingly set a new disaster in motion. The restarted engines caused the spinning propellers to create a powerful suction, dragging some of the lifeboats under. The lifeboats, filled with people, were torn apart by the massive blades, leading to a tragedy within a tragedy. 30 lives were lost in that desperate moment. Realizing the horrific mistake, Bartlett immediately ordered the engines to be stopped, but the damage had been done. The Britannic was sinking fast, and there was no stopping her. The once majestic ship, a beacon of hope just moments before, was now a scene of devastation. Amidst the chaos and destruction, one figure stood out. Violet Jessup, a nurse who had already survived the Titanic disaster 5 years earlier, was once again fighting for her life. Jessup had been on board the Titanic when she struck an iceberg in 1912, and she had miraculously survived. Now she found herself in the water again, clinging to a piece of debris as the Britannic sank beneath the waves. Jessup's story is one of remarkable resilience. Known as the unsinkable Miss Jessup, she would go on to survive yet another shipwreck during her lifetime. Her calmness under pressure and her determination to survive became legendary. After the war, she would write about her experiences, providing a first-hand account of both the Titanic and Britannic disasters. In the end, out of 1,065 people aboard, only 30 perished. The Britannic, once a symbol of luxury, then a beacon of hope, now rests at the bottom of the Aegean Sea, near the island of Kea. Her story, like that of her sister ship Titanic, is a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the unpredictability of fate. Yet the Britannic's legacy lives on, not just as a wreck at the bottom of the sea, but as a testament to human resilience and the enduring spirit of those who served aboard her. The ship's wreck, discovered in 1975 by Jacques Cousteau, remains a haunting reminder of the tragedies of war. Her story continues to captivate historians and explorers alike, a symbol of both human ingenuity and the devastating consequences of conflict.